I've got this Squier Champ 15, and it's got a problem. Obviously something wrong here. I mean, that's the gain and volume turned all the way up, and it's got a problem. I don't know what that is. That's the second input. The first input just does that. It's like a computer game. So we're gonna tear this thing apart and see if we can figure out what's going on with that. Alright, I've got the chassis out. I thought I'd just check for something easy first. I've got my signal generator connected to the speaker, and that works, so the speaker seems to be okay. I did notice on this thing right here, if you can see that, it's a little bit, looks like the trace on the circuit board is coming up, but I mean nothing, it's not cracked or anything. So you know, the thing I'm suspecting is this transistor right here, but we'll have to see. I'm going to try to inject a signal here and see if we can get the signal through at all. I was trying to inject a signal here, and I was getting signal through right there off of the volume control, and the transistor was smoking like a lot of smoke. So yeah, so it was working, but it smoked and now it's not working. So I'm suspecting, well, the transistor definitely went up in smoke, but I'm not exactly sure what would have caused that. So it looked like looks like the fuse is blown, even though you can't really tell it by looking at that. It's no continuity there, so yeah. Nothing is getting through. I don't know if you can see that, but this fuse actually has a little resistor in there, but it's open. You can see that it looks like the end blew off of that little resistor in there. Alright, this thing calls for a, I don't know if you can see that, 315 milliamp fuse. I got a 200 milliamp fuse. I just stuck another one in there. I mean, if this thing's blown, it's already blown. It's not gonna blow anymore. So I'm just gonna try to turn it on, see what happens here with a 200 milliamp fuse in it. Okay, we can get some power here. See what happens. Oh, it did hum, and the fuse immediately blew. So there's something definitely shorted here. I mean, I could just replace that transistor, but could it be something else causing that to get blown? I mean, it did have some sound coming out of the speaker. This chip is, you can get 10 of these chips for $8 on Amazon. I think I'm just going to buy this and just see what happens. I did also go ahead and pull out that input jack that was twisted, and you know, it tests okay, but you know, some of the traces, a couple of the traces broke. So right now I'm just going to replace this chip. I got a whole bunch of these, and you know, whether or not they're the real thing or not is another question. There was a lot of good reviews on them saying that they worked good and lasted, so assuming they're the real thing and good, maybe this thing will work, but we'll see here in just a minute. According to the internet, there should only be continuity between the bass and pin 3, and there is, and there's no continuity between the other pins. So according to the internet, this chip is good, but we're gonna go ahead and see what happens anyway. We'll just replace it. I'm a little bit skeptical that this is going to work, because the chip, just that just simple test there shows the chip is good. Okay, got a new chip in there. I've got the amp plugged into my current limiter, and let's just see what happens here. There's the fuse. Let's see if it does anything. You know, it's on. There's hum coming from the speaker. The fuse is not blowing. Okay, we'll turn this on. Let's see if it seems to be. It seems to be amplifying. And if I turn a tone, put a tone through it. So yeah, it seems to be doing something. So I'm going to plug a guitar into it and just to see what we got. Okay, I got it plugged in to a guitar, and the volumes are down right now, and everything else is just at 12 o'clock. So let's just see what happens here. That's kind of a weird thing, the volume control. Oh, there's where that's with the distortion on. Okay, that obviously did not fix it. This volume control has like it's got like a spot, a weird spot on it. It seems kind of, it's like there's some friction or something right there. Huh. That's a new distortion right there. That's a new kind of distortion. Okay, that did not fix it. So it's basically, we're back to the way it was originally. Okay, I've got the amp on. I've got my signal generator here. It's on. And if I can inject a signal right here in the transistor, it is definitely amplifying. And then if I even get close to some of these other ones, I can touch those, it's really loud. So it seems like from about here over is fine. It's just this preamp section here. You know, I've got this board out of here, and this is the volume control, and it's something's definitely wrong. It just stops right there. It's like it's got something broken off inside of there. So I will be replacing that. I'm not saying it's what the problem is, but there's definitely something wrong here. So I'm going to replace this just to eliminate this issue. Yeah, just for fun, I took this pot apart, and it is just broken. The plastic inside is broken. The plastic that pushes the contact onto the carbon tracing. This is a 500K audio pot. 500K. I'll see if I've got one of those. Okay, I got the new pot installed there. If I turn it on, marginally better. The first time I turned it on, it sounded fine for about 30 seconds maybe or something. It sounded fine for about 30 seconds, and then it went back to this distorted thing. I'm going to see if I can get this to act up on camera. Okay, if I turn it on, it sounds fine. And then it starts fading out. It's almost like it's got to be in this area right here, because if I inject a signal after the preamp, it's fine. Alright, you know, I tried to find a schematic for this thing, and I'm not able to find anything. It seems like it's pretty simple. I mean, you got two op amps, and then the output's working. So it's got to be something here with the preamp section here. Okay, I'm just taking a closer look at this board where that input jack came out, and this is ground right here, and then that trace goes over here to this. This is a resistor on the other side of the board, and where that input jack got twisted, that trace is completely gone there. It doesn't even, the way it is right here, this lead was lifted off when the jack got twisted, so the ground doesn't even make it over here to this resistor right here. So I found something very interesting here. If you turn the amp on, you know, it works just for about 30 seconds. Then it starts getting distorted. But if you put a clip lead between these 2 points and restore the ground to this point, to this resistor right here, I've tested this. It doesn't get distorted. That basically fixes it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to put these cheap input jacks in there because they're nothing but trouble. I'm going to get some of these Switchcraft input jacks that have the grounding, the shorting lead on there, and put those in here, and that should take care of it. Alright, I've got this traces restored. This ground used to go through this point and then around down here to this resistor, and I just went straight around from the ground to the resistor. And then this was the signal lead that went from here to there, and I just basically just came right off of the jack to that point right there. And then I just wired these Switchcraft jacks in place of those cheap plastic things. So this will be a lot better. It's going to be a lot better. Okay, we got this thing back together. Plugged into input number 1. Put the overdrive on. there. Is it that bad? That's pretty loud. It sounds good. It's you know, for what it is, it's like a little 8-inch speaker, and it actually sounds pretty good for jamming in your apartment or whatever. That's input 1. Sounds good. Okay, this is what it took to fix this little Fender Squier Champ 15. You know, I think what happened is somebody obviously jerked their instrument cable and pulled the amp off the nightstand or whatever, and broke the trace on the circuit board is really what happened. But then also, you probably jerked the amp off the nightstand and broke this volume control, and it's, you know, just the plastic that holds the wiper against the trace was completely broke. So probably could have been fixed, more than likely, with just some new input jacks. I mean, you could have probably made these work. These are really not very good, these little plastic ones. But get some new jacks. I got some new jacks in there, a new volume control. As to why this chip went bad, I am not 100% sure. You know, it could have been that I maybe possibly shorted out the speaker leads whenever I was testing that. That's the only thing I can figure. But anyway, those are cheap enough. They're like 70 cents a piece on Amazon. And then of course it blew the fuse. So that's it. Thanks for watching.